Snitches and rats are not the same thing. Let me break it down, make sure y'all see what I mean. A snitch is someone minding other folks' business to find information they can sell for a price or trade for some other form of compensation. A rat is a trader, a conceiver, planner, or physical participator. He doesn't sell secrets for power, for cash. He betrays the trust of his team or his family, hoping to save his cowardly ass. The difference is at least a snitch is human, but a rat is a fucking rat, period.
Good evening, brothers and sisters, men and women all around the world. Welcome to another episode of PLM News Network. I'm your brother Fiji, and tonight we're going to bring you the final nail in the coffin of this rat saga. Here we go. In my last episode of the Rat Saga Continues, where I spoke on the brother Arthur, and I spoke on Vic, and I spoke on Jimmy, and I briefly mentioned the brother Jojo Capone, I think that's his name. And I said that that would be my last thing speaking on Jimmy D. But I need to say this here. PLM News Network, Positive Lifestyle Management, is a platform that was established to be the voice for the voiceless. Our duty, obligation, and responsibilities are to always be truthful and factual. PLM News Network has not and will not intentionally put out false information, nor will we slander any man, woman, or child's name intentionally. We would not do it. If we are wrong, we are wrong, and we do not have no problem with coming back, straightening out any wrongs we have caused anybody. And with this being said, in our last episode, we mentioned Arthur speaking with Jimmy D. Not only Arthur, but there was others who has been speaking with Jimmy D, knowing that this man was not in good grace, knowing that he was eradicated, knowing that he's off talk, but they were still speaking with him. And so following the episode that after it was aired, Arthur reached out to me. And when he reached out to me, we had an in-depth conversation, which consisted upon him saying, he and another great man, may he rest in peace, who passed away on May 14, 2016, had the information that I had put out on Jimmy, said that they had the information. Not only did they have the information, but others had the information as well. But what happened was, they say that they couldn't confirm if the information was proper. They didn't know if it was true or not, because Arthur said he had spoken with people who said that peoples in the feds was hooking up fake paperwork, and that he had spoken with people who had said that Nate Hill had hooked up false paperwork on 4 or 5 different peoples. Now, I could understand, according to the information that he shared with me, I could understand why some people would have doubts, have their questions. But I told him that the paperwork was real and that Nate Hill would not and could not hook up no fake paperwork to keep somebody else in jail. I told him this here, and I explained it why. I walked him through it. I asked him one question. I said, bro, do you have a Pacer account? He said, yes, he has a Pacer account. So I said, hey, my man, I will walk you through this here, step by step. I will walk you through it. I also put him on the phone with Pee Wee. Not the co-defendant Pee Wee, but Pee Wee, who's also from the city, that had been in ADX with Jeff Ford, Mr. Hoover, Gregory Shells, Pistol Pete, what's the brother name? Wayne Perry, and a lot of other high-profile named prisoners who was in ADX. And Pee Wee, without mincing any words, unequivocally said that he personally went to Jimmy D's unit, his range, and he gave out Jimmy's cell number and said that he hollered down the range and told him, hey, you are an embarrassment, you a disgrace, you eradicated, and you all talk because you a rat. That's what he said. At this point, Arthur said he stands on righteousness and he support what was being said. He can accept that information. Cool. I told Arthur, I said, you know what? You stand on righteousness. I stand on righteousness. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get on the next podcast and I'm going to let the world know that you say you stand on righteousness. Mind you now, let's get back to this here. I had asked that brother, do he have a Pacer account? He said yes. I said, well, bro, I will walk you through it. Because if you have a Pacer account and you had this information all these years, there was no way or no reason why you couldn't go on Pacer to confirm if this was true or false. Because under no circumstances can Nate Hill or any prisoner in the Federal Bureau of Prison make some fake paperwork, put a person's name, ID number, case number, the joint that they in, and send it to the courts. Because what the courts is going to do, the courts, they're going to make a response. They're going to get back with that person and say, hey, we received your motion or your letter or whatever it is. And it's at that point where that person can say, hey, man, I ain't filed no motion. I ain't wrote no letter to no court, and get back to the courts and tell them, hey, man, I ain't did none of this here. Case in point. If Nate Hill was filing fake paperwork on Jimmy D or anybody else for that nature, or for that fact, and he had sent something into the courts with them people's name, ID number, the institution that they in, and all this stuff, and the case number on it, they gonna send that stuff. They would have sent that stuff back to Jimmy D. They would have sent a response to Jimmy D, and it would have been at that point that Jimmy D could have said, hey, no, that is not me. All right, I'm saying this to say this here. I did the audience a disservice. And how I did the audience a disservice is that I did not meticulously walk you through it. All of those who have been in the Federal Bureau of Prison, they understood what I was saying because they had been there. But for the lay person who ain't never been in the system, I never took into account that I had to go back through this here and break this down to y'all piece by piece by piece by piece. After I do this here, after I put this final nail in the coffin, we putting this casket in the ground and burying it. After I do this tonight, anybody that's talking to this man, that's around this man, that's defending this man, then that means that you just like him. That's it. Now, also in that conversation, this is what Arthur said he talked to this man. This man said, hey man, he said this while he was still in the joint. Hey man, I didn't do that. If I did that, I'd stand in the middle of state in Madison and blow my brains out. Let's get this understood. PLM does not advocate violence. PLM is not telling nobody to go stand in front of state in Madison and blow their brains out. We do not advocate violence or against no man, woman, or child. We are about positive and productive thoughts and ideas. We are about being a voice for the voiceless and saving our community from those who are out to harm. I want you to know that. So now let's get down to this here. All right, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to go here. I'm going to show y'all what a PACER account is. I'm going to show you what a PACER account is so that way you would truly understand what a PACER account is. A PACER account is where if you filed a lawyers, they got lawyers that can go on PACER and get all type of restricted documents as long as they got a lawyer number. But they also have a part of the PACER account whereas though regular citizens can go on, they pay their money, they can get a PACER account, then they can go on and pull documents and use case laws and all this stuff and look at particular cases and things that all stuff that's not sealed and restricted. That's what a PACER account is. All right. Any one of you that's out there, any networker, any one of you can get a PACER account. So do not allow anybody to tell you about something that you can go get the answer for yourself. So I went on PACER. And when I went on PACER, this is what I did. I went to Mr. Golson's letter. This particular letter right here. This is a letter from, it was filed 11/20/2007, and the entry number was 737. Ain't nobody sent me this here. As you all can see, this is in blue. When you see this up here, these numbers up here is in blue, that means right there that this is coming straight off of PACER because it's in blue. You see it's in blue. And this is what it says. Now come defendant Jimmy Golson's pro se to move this court to grant a full evidentiary hearing based on his cooperation to the Assistant United States Attorney's Office and to take jurisdiction under 28 U.S.C. 1291, as well as the advisement guidelines. The defendant also requests for this court to place this motion under seal for the safety of the defendants and his family lives. Okay. Now, we're going to go on to page 2 of this motion. What this is doing down here is setting out the standards. He's setting out the standards on why he's supposed to have that this court should adjudicate this versus Haynes versus Colonel to adjudicate this liberally. I went through this here the first time, and I put up another one of his motion. This particular site, Haynes versus Colonel, is the site that all pro se inmates be using so that their stuff can be taken liberally and not to be held to the standards of a paid lawyer. All right. Boom. Now we go to page 2. Now we go jump down to paragraph 2 where it says U.S. versus Fernandez. He's using this here as this case law for that. In this case, the courts made it clear that a government motion is no longer an absolute prerequisite to a district court imposition of a sentence below the sentencing guideline range to award a defendant for his cooperating with authorities. Now, this is where it gets real interesting. It says right here, it says the defendant, Jimmy Golson, has provided substantial assistance to over 5 United Assistant USA and FBI, DEA, ATF agents. The defendant's attorney was at most of these proffer meetings in which all of the 8 USAs made a promise to the defendant to file a Rule 35 on his behalf to reduce the defendant's sentence for his assistance to all of them. None of the assistant United States attorneys kept their promise, which is enforceable. See U.S. versus Jenkins. Now, do y'all understand what I just read? That this man has sat down with 5 different United States, assistant United States attorneys, FBI, DEA, ATF agents. His lawyer was there. Everybody was there now. All you have to do, I'm speaking directly to everybody who has Pacer accounts. All you have to do is go to his docket sheet because it's public information. Go to file 737 before it becomes sealed now, because this is being exposed. Before it's sealed, go to 737, page 2 of 6, and you can see this information. So, we all can see this here, right? We all see this. So now we finna go on. Mind you now, anybody with a Pacer account could have seen this particular information any time they wanted to when they had the information. So I said this to Arthur. I say, bruh, you stand on righteousness. I'm going to be righteous. I'm going to get on there and say that you said that you stand on righteousness and that you cannot support him. These are my words. Do not take my words. Arthur, I'm giving you the opportunity to come on PLM and publicly denounce this here. Denounce this man in front of the public so will nobody question where you stand, bro. You have that opportunity. The floor is open to you and anybody else, man, who want to come on here, man, and say that y'all stand on righteousness, man. I'm being honest. I'm being fair. I would not place anybody in harm's way when it comes to slandering their names. Bruh, you got that opportunity. I'm giving you this opportunity, man. Because you say you stand on righteousness. I stand on righteousness. I would not play no games with nobody. Nobody. Period. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be just. Because I know the consequences that comes behind putting out false information on people's, man. I know what happens. So I'm going to be fair. Now, I'm going to show y'all this statue before I go to this next motion. All right? And I know y'all probably tired of hearing this stuff, man. I know y'all are. But you got to hear it. You got to hear it. You got to know it. I got to give it to y'all the right way. You know, this next motion that came out, it was 9/14/2010. This is the motion. That's when it was filed. The filing date on it was 9/9/2010. They filed it in the court up there in the blue now. The docket entry was 8/57. 9/14/2010. As we can see, please take notice that on 9/9/10, the petitioner did file with the clerk of this court a motion pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 3553E to have his sentence reduced. So now, remind you now, this is Rebecca Paulmeyer. This is the judge in this case. They go to case number 96 CR 55-3. Remember, I told y'all all this here. And it's Jimmy Ghost in the petition, the United States versus United States of America, when it should have been the other way around. All right. Now, before I get busy, I have to I got to add this. This is what I need to add. This is 18 USC, 18 United States Code 3553, imposition of a sentence. So now when you look at it, you hear everybody always talk about the 3553A factors. The 3553A factors are the factors to be considered in opposing a sentence. These are the factors that they use based on the nature and the history of the crime, the need for the sentence imposed, the seriousness of the offense, the opportunity for you to be rehabilitated, you know what I'm saying, that you don't have no particular right to be at no particular institution. They can send you anywhere they want to send you in the feds. And so now we're going to go to 3553E. That's the one that we want. See, we don't want, this is E right here. Limited authority to impose a sentence below a statutory maximum or statutory minimum. I'm sorry about that. Statutory minimum. And this is what it says. This is where y'all can know what a 3553E motion is. And the only person who could file a 3553E motion. It says, upon motion of the government has to do it. The court shall have the authority to impose a sentence below a level established by statute as a minimum sentence so as to reduce a defendant's substantial assistance, to reflect a defendant's substantial assistance in the investigation or prosecution of another person who has committed an offense. Such sentence shall be imposed in accordance with the guidelines and policy statements issued by the Sentencing Commission pursuant to Section 994 of Title 28 United States Code. Now, 3553E is a snitch motion. This is a snitch motion now. I found this on Pacer just the other day. This is the same day that I was asking Arthur, man, bro, I'll walk you through it. Let's walk through this together so there won't be no ifs, ands, or buts, or no excuses. No more excuses about this on why we doing things that we shouldn't be doing. He said, we ain't got to do it. I trust your word. I said, okay, cool. But me being a fair man, I got to let the public know. I got to let the networkers know. So that way you all will know what to look for. So So this was the motion right here. As y'all can see, he got it in his own handwriting. The next page to this motion is the motion to reduce sentence under 3553E based on the petitioner's cooperation. That's what he titled the motion. Reduce sentence under 18 USC 3553E. And I guarantee you all, if you go to the docket sheet and look at 857, what you're going to see, and that is motion by Jimmy Golson to reduce sentence under 18 USC 3553E. And they got exhibits with it. Now, we're gonna get back to the exhibits. This is the motion. This is his cooperation motion upon to file a 5K1. See there? Y'all see there? 5K1 motion on his behalf. You know what I'm saying? So all this stuff here, all this here deals with Jimmy. Then we go here. Then they go to letter. Remember that letter I was telling y'all about the prosecutor in Florida? Here's the letter in blue. Ain't no more copies. Ain't no more copies. This is in blue. This comes straight off of Pacer. You cannot get around this here. This is dealing with the Thomas A. Wyatt case when it was talking about the murder. And yes, y'all can see it ain't faded out. It's not faded out. He filed this motion trying to get a 3553E reduction, man, based on his cooperation, man, with Florida. That's why he filed this motion. All right. Then what happened was, let me show y'all what happened. I got to be honest with you. I want to be real honest with you. I'm not going to play no games with nobody. I want y'all to follow me on this here. Follow me. Because this is very, very important. These are legal matters that shouldn't be overlooked. These are the things that you look for. Look what the government did. I'm going to show you what the government did. The government filed a motion in response to Jimmy's 3553 motion. They filed a motion. This was docket entry 861. And they were saying this here. To deny the motion. See, they said this here? Defendant Jimmy Golson has filed a motion to reduce his sentence pursuant to 18 USC 3553E. The prosecutors are saying, because the court lacks jurisdiction over this motion, the government moves to dismiss the motion. So the government filed a motion to dismiss Jimmy's motion, trying to get a reduction. See how they use you? Get all that information out of you. You didn't sit down with 5 different AUSAs. You didn't sit down with the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, the ABC, the EFG, everybody that has some alphabets in their name. You didn't sit down with them, helping them, and they said no. So what do Jimmy do? I'm going to show you what he do. He filed a response to the government's motion. This is his response. Defendant responds to the government motion to dismiss the defendant's motion under 18 USC 3553E. Look back up there at the top now again, y'all. Y'all see this here? It's all in blue. You see all these files? You see these file dates? This stuff is real. This ain't no fake paperwork. Nate Hill ain't doing this here. This is him doing this here. So now, You remember, in this motion, he talking about the gangsters, the gangster disciples. The defendant was not even part of the gangster disciples when Shorty G was running the city. You see them? I just stumbled across that. It says the defendant was not even a part of the gangster disciples when Shorty G was running the city. As the government-owned witness stated from the stand, Jimmy Golson does not even affiliate with us anymore. The other statement inside the government response comes from the government key witness Presley Patterson, who was a perjured witness, therefore the court should not even be considered. Now, as for the letter filed and sent to this court from DA Mr. Butler, is very clear. He states, Mr. Golson's cooperation with our office along with other inmates was instrumental in our ability to defeat the false claims made in the Wyatt motion. Remember what I said? Remember what I told y'all? Now, I'm going to show y'all something else. I'm going to go back because you remember I said, damn, Jimmy D was locked up in September of 96. And they was already talking about the man had a hit out on him. So now, let's find this hit. What happened? See, I want to see y'all. Y'all see his name on that first of all, right? Okay, y'all see his name. He was in ADX Florence at that time. Okay, now, look at this here. This is an exhibit that he placed with that. And I was like, damn, who was trying to kill this brother at this time? Because I didn't know. I just thought it was some BS. It says, in summary, Sergeant Darling related to the above team members that Jimmy Golson, a.k.a. Jimmy D, was to be picked up. Jimmy was to be charged with delivery of a look-alike substance that occurred on May 22nd, 96. Both charges were recorded under RD A 337487. R/GS, I don't know who that is, along with other team members, had received information that Jimmy was to be killed in parentheses. This information came from a federal informant. The information obtained from the federal informant came from the state penitentiary. This information related that there was a conversation with the board members of the gangster disciples who are serving time. They related that Jimmy was running wild in the streets, and Jimmy, was not taking care of, come on now, let's get this right, of nation work, the gangster disciples work. The word went out on the streets to other members that Jimmy was going to be taken care of, and for other members, gang members, to stay away from him. Stay away from Jimmy. Sergeant Darling and his team formulated a plan to take Jimmy into custody. This was done for the safety of Jimmy's life, the two buys, and because Jimmy would be a flight risk. On today's date, R/GS met with a M/B known as Johnny Jones. I don't know no Johnny Jones, but this is what it's saying. Johnny Jones, who was a friend of Jimmy. R/GS told Johnny to have Jimmy page R/GS because R/GS had to talk to Jimmy. R/GS gave Johnny a page number so Jimmy could get in contact with R/GS. Jimmy called R/GS and related to R/GS that Jimmy, would meet with him in the area of 75th and Dorchester. R/GS contacted Sergeant Darling, and Sergeant Darling, along with other members of the team, set up a surveillance of this area. R/GS drove up to 7521 South Dorchester, got out of the car, and Jimmy walked up to R/GS. Sergeant Darling and other members of the team came in and placed Jimmy under arrest, advised him of his rights, and transported him into gang investigation office without further incident. This is what Jimmy used as an exhibit. And in the back of this last page, you will see certificate of service, Jimmy Golson. You see his own handwriting. You see it signed himself. You see this here. Amen. So when Jimmy filed their response now, then the judge made her ruling. And this is the judge ruling. She denied it. She denied Jimmy's motion. This is her ruling. Back up at the top, you see it's in blue. Y'all see everything is in blue. Now, like I said, I've given y'all all the information that you needed. There are no more excuses. If you are trying to find excuses, then that means you too are a sympathizer. And if you're a sympathizer, you're a part of, and then you don't believe in the integrity and dignity of what we say that we believe in. So you are taking your friend or whoever that person may be above the family. Anybody who wants to come on PLM News, they can come on. I made the offer to Arthur to come on and denounce this man to the world so that the world can know where you stand, bruh. Nobody should be questioning where you stand. Nobody should be questioning that. And me being a man of righteousness and a fair man, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm about. I'm about righteousness. I'm about fairness. Now that's a close on Jimmy. That's the final nail in the coffin. We ain't said the eulogy, we ain't did everything, man. Let's put this issue to rest. This issue is over with. I never really got a response back from JoJo, so that lets me know that JoJo's like, hey, man, it is what it is. That's what I'm going to take that as. You know what I'm saying? He's saying it is what it is. Dude ain't right. That's the information. That's what it is. So I know he's in position too, where as though he can get paperwork the same way he got some paperwork on no choke, choke no, or no choke, whoever that person is. So I know he's able to get the proper documents as well. And plus, he's in tune with certain people, so he wrote books about Nate and everything, so he really know what's going. He already know what's going on. So there's no more need for me to even be addressing this here. So now let's get to this here point. I ain't forgot about you, Vic. I'm gonna finish up with you too. But right now, I want to mention somebody else, Mr. Timothy Nettles. People know him as Willow. Willa, you in this folder. There's two of them. You hear, Willa? I just want to put you on notice. Thomas London, you in here. Y'all in here. Y'all are in here. See, let me tell y'all something. This is why our children are in the state that they are in today. And as y'all can see, as of late in Chicago, a lot of things has been dying down. A lot of stuff is dying down. You know, they still doing their little drill stuff and people still getting killed. But it's kind of like it's starting to slow down if y'all could pay attention to what's going on. Because our children was being misled. They were being misguided. They was being sacrificed for somebody else's own personal gain, others' personal gain. So when they was coming inside these prisons, it was us who had to raise these young men that was coming in with all this time. While the people who was out here, who was left out here to guide them, wasn't guiding them properly. People was coming back into the community, getting back inside these non-profit organizations, these violent prevention groups, and still doing the same things. Setting these young men up. They coming home, they got United States Marshals, assistance inside of their judgment and their judgment and commitment. Now, let me get this straight too. Let me pull this nail back up out the coffin right quick. If you look at, let me see. What entry number is that? Okay. I didn't get a chance to put this up on the board. I slipped. But on 12/23/2022, amended judgment and commitment as to James Golson issued to a U.S. Marshal via email in PDF format. So I went and tried to pull up his judgment and commitment to see if I can look at it. If you look, it's sealed. You cannot get in. Let me see. You see down there? Y'all see that? Y'all see the exhibits sealed? Y'all see amended judgment, modification of term and imprisonment for extraordinary and compelling reason. And then if you go down, you see amended judgment and commitment as to James Golson. You know, it's sealed. You can't get it. I tried to go on there. They wouldn't let me get it. So I'm letting y'all know this here. And this wasn't particularly about him, but it included him. It's about all these other guys that's rats that's coming home, getting inside of these violent prevention groups because they supposed to be Chicago street legends. They getting inside of these groups and setting people's up, misusing our children, getting our children to do dumb stuff, and then they winding up giving statements on them. They wired up on them. Our babies need us. I take ownership for a lot of the stuff that's going on in the street because I wasn't there. I take personal ownership to that. And I'm trying to do everything to right my wrongs. I do not want to see nobody being misled and misused ever again. Can I stop everything? No. But I am a voice for the voiceless. Positive Lifestyle Management is a voice for the voiceless. We are about our community. We are about our children. We are about our women. We are about our mothers and fathers and our brothers and our sisters. I am my brother and my sister's keeper. It don't matter what particular organization that you belong to. Like I told y'all, when you go inside that Federal Bureau of Prison, everybody that you out here hurting and fighting, these become your allies when you get inside the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So these guys, I learned that these men, they feel the same way I feel. They watched my back the same way I watched their back. I've been on the front line with them, man, in federal prison the same way they was on front line with me. They fed me the same way I fed them. We slept in the same cells with each other. And this includes Stones, Vice Lords, BDs, Souls, Black Gangsters, whoever else you want to name, man, Latin folks, Latin kings, everybody. We were all together. And I'm still with y'all. I'm not against you. I'm with you. And in closing, I want to say this here. Willa. For all you guys that's hanging out at the 50-yard line, Francis, hanging out with these guys, just know you're being seen. People see you. Don't think you're doing something, man, that people don't see you. Come on, man. People that know about all the dirty rat plays, man. Let's cut this nonsense out. And like I said, the brother Arthur say he stand on righteousness. A man's deeds speaks louder than his creed. And with that, I want to say thank you. Peace.